Welcome, everyone. We are Boehringer Ingelheim, a family-owned company founded in 1885 with headquarters in Ingelheim, Germany, although we have many different locations in countries around the world, including the U.S., where I'm based, actually Richfield, Connecticut. BI works to maintain human lives and animal lives, as well as having a biopharmaceutical manufacturing entity. We currently have 52,000 employees with approximately 1,700 or slightly above employees in IT. So my name is Monica Oswald. I'm a director in IT. My team supports financial systems such as SAP in the Asia Pacific and the Americas region. And just to let you know in the very beginning, feel free to put your questions in the chat if you have questions, and we should have time at the end for Q&A as well. So I'm really happy to be here with several wonderful colleagues. And we have another colleague that actually got kicked out, and she will be coming back hopefully soon. But I'm really happy to be with really great colleagues here with me, and I want to talk a little bit about if we can share an example of how the IT projects that we're working on help to increase innovations, not just for IT, but also for the business. So I'm going to give it to Kaushik first, and hopefully you can share a great example with us.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. So hello, everyone. Hi, this is Kaushik. My name is Kaushik Nandi. I'm the head of IT in Boehringer Ingelheim, Canada. And I'm also part of the core team driving this amazing data land project. It's all about driving innovation. So what is data land? So data land is based on building and operating a user-centric and end-to-end data ecosystem across the entire company. And what we want to achieve from it, it will enable Boehringer Ingelheim to be leading edge in generating value out of data. And we also, on the people side, want to establish a data-driven mindset and working culture going forward. And so we're very excited about this Data Land program. It's an initiative by the Board of Managing Directors, started last year. And we have really cool use cases that have started going live with this. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you, Kaushik. So as my team supports financial systems and SAP systems, et cetera, we currently involved with a project that we call Global Business Services. And in this Global Business Services project, one of the items in there is a global implementation of an SAP S/4HANA environment. So this type of an implementation here, we really need the strong teamwork of IT and our global and local business colleagues to reach this one goal, because as you can imagine, implementing an ERP is not an easy project, and always a little bit of a challenge from a standpoint of business processes, especially local business processes. So we're really happy. We will be really happy when we continue and fulfill this journey, just because we'll then have more harmonized data, more consistent data, and better data for applications like BI Data Land, which will need this in the future. We have another colleague who would be with us now, but unfortunately is still waiting for approval to get back, that could also give us some additional information on this, but unfortunately she's not with us just now. So we will now, Mariana, I'm hoping that you can maybe help a little bit on a project example as well.
Sure. And once Shilpa can get back in, we'll go back to her for her introduction, and she can give us some more insight there. But hi, everyone. I'm Marianne Hyde, and I'm the head of Central Data Sciences here for the Americas. I'm located in Ridgefield, Connecticut. I've been with Boehringer Ingelheim for about almost 2 years as a full-time employee. I was spent some time as a consultant prior to that. Our team, the Central Data Science team, we work on projects across human pharma and animal health and all functional areas of the business, from sales and marketing to legal and compliance to scientific research. And it's really exciting to be involved in several projects that are very patient-centric. Some of this work that the team is doing is focusing on, one project is assessing the severity of certain skin diseases in order to help doctors and patients figure out the dosage of the medications that they would need. Another project that our data scientists are working on is with the Cancer and Immunology Research Team. And what they're doing there is by using machine learning, they're helping research scientists synthetically design and evaluate antibodies using data rather than actual lab testing, which makes the discovery process quicker, more efficient, and to sooner get to those antibodies that they're looking for. Another big thing that we do here, being patient-centric, is, we have a patient ambassador program within IT. And what this is it's a dedicated group of Boehringer Ingelheim employees that serve as patient champions across their respective functional areas. So it helps to bring these stories of our patients to the functional areas to work so that we know what we're working on, what projects we're working on, and how we're impacting our patients and customers.
Perfect. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. In light of the fact that Sherpa is not quite back yet, we're going to kind of move on to the next area that we'd like to talk about. So it's so great to hear so much detail about how we are really enabling business innovation in BI. Do you have any thoughts on what it makes IT so successful in being able to deliver these projects? Marianne, I'm hoping you can help us.
Yeah, actually, I think alluding to the patient ambassador program, I think the first and foremost collaboration between IT and the business team is really important. And we do that here through using agile methodologies where, many of our projects, about 35% of them maybe run under Scrum. And this enables that collaboration and the ability for us to be adaptable to the market changes and that sort of thing. Being curious, asking those questions really help as well. And, I mentioned that patient ambassador program, and that amplifies this patient-centric approach that we like to have here. And that also contributes to the development of these tools and resources that we want to build. And it's not just for internal processes, but it is for delivering services to our patients. Building a better life for our patients. And we're all a part of this, and being able to see that's become more important to make our projects successful.
Thank you, Marianne. It's fantastic. One thing I can think about that really makes us very successful, I think, from an IT perspective, is the diversity across the teams. I'm lucky enough to lead a team that stretches from, Australia to Mexico, from the Americas to APAC. And we have very diverse team members, both in geography, in age, and in gender. And what I really think it brings to us is that it gives us the opportunity to really listen to ideas and perspectives from all different places and with people from all different backgrounds. And it also enables us to really come up with the best solutions for the challenges that we face, and for colleagues to learn from each other and learn about how different people communicate, how different cultures work, and how to also flex their own personalities and their own behaviors to be able to really learn from each other and bring that forward in their own career path. So for me, that diversity, I think, is a huge part of how we bring innovation better to the business. Kaushik, I'm hoping that you have also some thoughts on that.
Sure. Maybe I can add another perspective to this also here. So what Boehringer Ingelheim does that at least I've not seen in many other companies, it invests heavily on people, and it also encourages people to move around. So just to share another perspective, let's say my own story, I started with Boehringer Ingelheim in Germany, worked there for 6 months. Then I moved to the US and worked there for 9 years in 2 different jobs. Now I'm here in Toronto in Boehringer Ingelheim, Canada. And also to share, like, these are 4 totally different jobs that have no relation to each other. But since it's part of my development plan, and Boehringer supports us through that. So I think that's a really big reason why we're so successful is, just this great investment and trust on its own people.
Well, thinking about, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Monica, just to branch off your diversity thing for a second, like in our Connecticut office this week, right? I'm working with colleagues from Germany and Spain and Argentina and Singapore, so we've all come together. There's workshops and meetings to discuss those things. So it really is live and in action right now.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that as I have my many nighttime meetings with my colleagues in Asia. So yes.
Yeah.
Um, but thinking about the development at IT, I'm sure we all have been supported in some special way in our careers here. And one way that I think I've been supported, and one thing I think that's really helped me grow a lot, is I'm not an IT person by trade. So my background is in finance, in many different financial roles in other companies, as well as within Boehringer Ingelheim. But I moved from the finance organization over to the IT organization, and I was really encouraged to do so. And it really made me learn a lot about an area that I really didn't know too much about. And I think the importance of the encouragement of these cross-functional moves between organizations really helps colleagues be able to learn more, understand more about the business, understand more about business processes. And I personally believe that this, for me, has been very impactful and also valuable, not only for me, but for my business partners. Because now when I talk to the finance colleagues and talk to a lot of other colleagues, I have their background. I can help them understand how it works from an IT perspective or a system perspective. And I think that this strong encouragement of moving between functions in the organization really helps all of us and helps us all continue to add value at BI. So for me, that was one way I think my career was really specially touched here. So Kaushik, I'm hoping, I know that you have
Sure.
lots of special ways.
Yes. So like I mentioned before, let's say we have a core job. Let's say I'm the head of IT here in Canada, but at the same time, I'm part of this data land core team as well. So BI gives a lot of opportunities to do something on top of what your core job is. I would like to talk about this community of practice concept that we have. Technology is so fast changing, and so for that we have established a COP. So what is this community of practice? It's an organized group of people that we have who have like a common interest in a specific domain, and they collaborate regularly to share information, the new advancements in technology, and actively work on these new technologies, which are really not part of their core job. How it has benefited me also personally is I was also given the chance to lead a community of practice on robotic process automation. So we had this group of people who were passionate, they saw what's going on, and then they brought this into the company, and now it's a formal organization. So that also helped me to develop my leadership skills leading this COP or community of practice. So I think, yeah, that has been a great support in my career at BI, and the independence it gives me. And
Thank you, Kaushik.
yeah.
So Marianne, I know that you are probably the newest one to the BI organization,
Yeah.
and I would love to hear something about your experience so far.
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I started at BI as a consultant. Actually I did two rounds of that, and a short, maternity leave replacement role for a few months. And then, about 8 months later, Boehringer Ingelheim brought me back in as a consultant on another project. And, so I was really given the opportunity to work closely with different groups in IT and the business. And then there was an opening in the organization, and I joined the team, and just about 2 years ago, joining as a full-time employee. And interesting, I was really hesitant about joining a very large organization. This is the largest company I've ever worked for. Most of my career, I specifically stayed in, smaller companies. And, for me, I always felt that led to being nimble and innovative and all of that. And, um, I learned that that's not always that is the case also in large organizations. And the other great thing here is, like Kaushik mentioned, is they really promote internal development, right? In development of their employees. And, I myself have benefited from this in the fact that, there are internal job transfers and you can post for positions. And I actually got this position. I've been in my new role here for just about three months now. There was an internal job posting. I applied for it, and I was selected to be the head of Central Data Science Americas. And, managers work with you to develop what your career path would like to be and where you want to develop and go to. And I think that's really important, because in the past I've always felt like I had to leave an organization in order to grow and take the next step in my career, and that it doesn't seem to be the case here at Boehringer Ingelheim, my experience. And I can tell you, in the last 6 months, all of the postings of people moving jobs internally, I can't keep track. I couldn't even give you a count of how many I've seen recently. Yeah,
Yes.
so it's very encouraging that when I get bored or what have you, I have something else to know I can do about.
Hey, just to give more context to the audience, since Marianne, you mentioned how you started as an interim for a maternity leave person. So we had Angie Shaw, who did the previous session. She was the one who went on maternity leave, and Marianne came in. And so even if it's a large company, you see it's more like a family. It's a small company. So Marianne joined us. Oh, we like Marianne. Then we created opportunities. She got into other opportunities, and now here she is. So just wanted to share that as well.
And I think the other thing that I think is really great that we have is we always have this continual organizational announcements about open positions within the IT community.
Yeah.
So we have one place where everybody can see what jobs are opening up, where is it located, what is it about, and then we also always have that follow-up of who's moving into that position and what's happening with their position. So I think there's a lot of transparencies within Boehringer Ingelheim as to what positions are open and what is available for colleagues to look at. And it's strongly encouraged for colleagues to really move on to other positions, even if it's not necessarily right within their core realm, but to give them an opportunity to learn other areas as well. So I think we do a lot of coaching and also a lot of advertising as to the open positions as well. So that's one thing I think definitely there's a lot of transparency about it, and jobs aren't necessarily quote unquote just locked down for certain people. So there is a lot of thought around that process. So
and Monica, just to add on to that, I think there's also within IT, I know that there is also a system, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but where people might have a short-term assignment that they need help with. Maybe they need a scrum master for 3 to 4 months. And so they post these internally. It's not a job change. It's just, an opportunity for someone to try something different, work in a different organization, a different part of the organization, which is quite nice. You get some exposure. And also, like Kashik was mentioning, with the communities of practice or something, you can get involved in other things. The patient ambassador program, right? It allows you to then learn and work with other colleagues and do something, just something different than your day-to-day, to get involved and see that impact and meet new people and stuff. So there's a lot of those things here. And actually, that's something I really enjoy. I've gotten involved in a lot of different areas.
And
we
just
also
to add,
go ahead,
sorry,
go ahead.
just to add, we're also really passionate about the women in tech, and we mean it. And by action, also last year, we had hired one person from the same event who joined one of our booth, and we had a great conversation. And now I think she's part of your team, right, Marianne?
She is, yeah. I forgot to mention that. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we met her last year in these conferences.
So I think that all in all, Boehringer Ingelheim is a great place to work if you're an IT person. It's very family oriented. There's a lot of team spirit here, and I'm happy to have been here, almost 15 years, so much longer than I initially thought I would be here. But I just would like to encourage everybody to please, visit our website. Please visit our virtual booth. Talk to some of the colleagues there. It's being manned live throughout the conference. So we'd love to have you come and talk to us. And we do have multiple openings now. And as Kaushik mentioned, we also have hired previously a colleague that attended the event as well. So thank you for that.
Hey, as we close out, maybe we can talk about one piece of advice that we can share with our audience. Maybe starting with you, Marianne.
So Kashik, I apologize. I was reading in the chat to make sure we were covering questions. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying, while we're closing down, just thought maybe we can, before we take the questions from the chat, you can maybe share one piece of advice.
Oh, yeah. I apologize. I wanted to make sure we were going to address the questions from our attendees, so I got sidetracked. So I think my advice would be is when you're doing your resume, really modify that resume, highlight something there that makes you unique, something that's going to grab the person's attention, right? We read a lot of resumes when they come in. So, when you tie something back to what you see in the job posting, highlight that on your resume, one of your accomplishments, something you're proud of. And don't just have a generic resume for all your job postings, right? You need to grab my attention. And the biggest piece of advice, it's something I was given early on in my career, and I really believe in this, is use your network. Really, it's the reason I was able to come back to Boehringer Ingelheim as a consultant the second time, because I used my network. I stayed in touch. So it's a really important piece of that.
Kaushik,
Okay.
what would you think would be a great piece of advice?
Yeah, I think it's good you mentioned about the resume, where I think it's important that we highlight the transferable skills from the previous job to the new job we're applying to. But at the same time, I think we should not get bogged down by the nitty-gritties of this job and get worried, oh, I don't have that skill or that skill. I think if you should really ask yourself and ask your heart, like, if you have it for the job, and yeah, if the answer is yes, you should just apply.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kaushik.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I think that also really speaks to me about thinking about a company that you want to work for is with Boehringer Ingelheim, we really are patient-centric, really focusing on the patients. And even if in your different parts of the organization that are not necessarily right in front of the patients, we always are thinking about that and remembering that even from an IT perspective, what we do makes a difference at the end to the patients. So I think it's having that thought around what is the organization driving to? What are we really focused on? And that also brings passion into your heart to know that what we're doing helps patients in the end and helps them have, fruitful lives, and so that for me, that's a wonderful thing. And the one thing I could also say is just do it. Just, take a look at us, apply for a position if you see it's a great company to work for, and we'd more than love to have you. So thank you. Now we have time for any questions if anybody has any. And I can take a look at the chat and see if there's anything there.
And I can say there were no direct questions because I was reviewing them. So I encourage you all to ask a question in that chat.
We'd love to answer it for you.
So there is a question that just popped up. Does Boehringer Ingelheim offer visa sponsorship for open positions?
We do offer visa sponsorship for certain positions. They have to be a certain pay grade level and above. Otherwise, they don't. As you can imagine, from a United States perspective now, there's a little bit more of a challenge with getting visas approved than there used to be pre-COVID. So yes, in some situations we do, but not in all situations.
I see one comment about someone mentioned about the swap initiative and the partial assignment. Yes, I think that's also what we have. I think I recall a manager in IT RDM and IT Research Development and Medicine where the managers swapped the team for 3 months, and it was really a great experience they shared after that. So we have that opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have another question that came in, and do we have remote roles?
So currently, from an IT perspective, we don't have 100% remote roles, only in certain specific situations. And I know a lot of companies are going through this decision-making process now as to, do we want to do 100% remote or not 100% remote? Currently, we are flexible from a standpoint of coming into the office. So for instance, typically I might come in 2 days a week or 3 days a week, depending upon the schedule. Some people come in more frequently, some people not so frequently. So we're fairly flexible from that perspective, but from a 100% remote perspective, in the IT world currently, it really depends upon what the position is and how difficult it is to find the skill set. They do like for us to come in because I think it's very valued, as mentioned earlier. It's family owned. It has a strong culture, and having people connect physically together matters a lot for them. So even recently within IT in the United States, we had an initiative for 4 weeks whereby all of us were asked to come in 3 days a week so that we could all kind of reconnect after this 2.5 years or 2 years and whatever months of COVID. So, and it really has helped people kind of, talk together, connect together, because some colleagues haven't seen each other in, over 2 years. So we're not 100% remote for all positions currently, or for many positions.
Here's a good question. What do you most like about working in Boehringer Ingelheim aside from the technical area?
What do I most like about working? I don't want to answer that first, Kevshik. You go first.
Maybe I'll go first. Yeah. What I like most here is like the family-oriented mission, and also Boehringer Ingelheim cares about you holistically as a person, and not just development from a professional and technical perspective. Personally, what I liked is I think we're the only in the United States, only one of the very handful of companies which has a daycare on site. And Boehringer Ingelheim, to be honest, raised my first kid from 0 years to 5 years, right? So it was so easy. They feed him everything. I come to office with my son, drop him in the daycare, go to office, job when office is over, pick him up, go back, and we just have to make dinner. That's it. So that's the part, right? That I hear about other companies giving great benefits, but I've never heard any company give this one.
That's great.
For me, aside from the technical side, which the question asked for, the work environment here is really nice. I mean, as silly as that's going to sound, the building, the office space is the nicest I've ever worked in my career. The campus here in Connecticut is just lovely. We see deer outside. It's a really nice working environment. And then that leads to the people are nice to work with. And it's a nice environment to have to come to work every day. That's really the reason I ended up here.
And I would say for me, probably the thing I enjoy the most is the people. And the people here are so, I don't want to say the word nice. Nice is such a boring word, but from a standpoint of the trust, from a standpoint of the teamwork. So if you have questions, if you're not sure of things, people will help you. They don't try to hide information. They really do. Like if I need infrastructure help, I know who I can go talk to somebody and find things out. So I think it's the people, how much we trust each other, the respect that we give each other, and the fact that, there's this real, it's a real authentic feeling in the organization. It's not a competitive, cutthroat organization where you have to feel like people will cut each other's legs out. It's completely the opposite. So for me, it's the culture and the people that really kind of drives what I like about working at BA. So we have 2 minutes left. I hope we get another question.
Just some nice comments. Thank you. Good to hear. Thank you. Nice meeting. Nice experience. Any last questions from anybody?
I guess not. We can ask each other questions.
We could.
Kaushik, what do you best like about Canada, since you're there now?
Oh, Canada, yes. The best part I like is a lot of the good things are nearby. Like Niagara Falls is 45 minutes from my house, so I can go there as many times I want. And the kayaking and everything is in this greater Toronto area. There is a skydiving inside a building, to give that experience. That's also here. So yeah, I don't drive more than 1 hour anywhere. In the US, I had to plan, a trip. Oh, I'm going to Walmart or somewhere. So yeah.
And as you can see, we're all comfortable with each other. So yeah. I should tell you something about our organization. So that's great. Well, we're just up against time. If anybody has any questions or would like to reach out, please feel free to visit the virtual booth. Again, please, come to our corporate website, check out our job postings. We'd love to have you join the organization, join the family, as we say. So thank you all. Really has been a great time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.